yato yami tato Nrsimha. Bahir Nrsimha Hidaye Nrsimha. Nrsimha Matim Sharana Prabhaje. Kavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Talita Hiranyakashipu Dano Bringam Keshavadrita Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai. Jai ho, Jai ho. Prayers by the personified Vedas. Continuing.
86. Which the,
I read the last one, so
it'll be
yes.
Okay,
In
great.
the Bhagavad Gita.
in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm sorry. Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hey, Krishna, 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 Hey, Krishna, 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 Rakshamam, Krishna, 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 Pahimam, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Raghava, Rakshamam, Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Pahimam.
In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord advises, whatever you do, do for me. Whatever you eat, first offer to me. Whatever charity you want to give, first give to me. And whatever austerities and penances you want to perform, perform for me. In this way, the karmis are directed gradually to develop Krishna consciousness. Similarly, Krishna directs the philosophers to approach him gradually by discriminating between Brahman and Maya. For at last, when one is mature in knowledge, he surrenders unto Krishna. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, after many, many births, the wise philosopher surrenders to me. The yogis are also directed to concentrate their meditation upon Krishna within the heart. And by such continued process of Krishna consciousness, the yogi can become free from the clutches of material energy. But, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, because the devotees are engaged in devotional service with love and affection from the very beginning, the Lord directs them so they can approach him without difficulty or deviation. Only by the grace of the Lord can the living entity understand the exact position of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. The statements of the personified Vedas give clear evidence that the Vedic literature is presented only for understanding Krishna. Bhagavad Gita confirms that through all the Vedas it is Krishna alone who has to be understood. Krishna is always enjoying either in the material world or in the spiritual world, because he is the supreme enjoyer. For him there is no distinction between the material and spiritual worlds. The material world is an impediment for the ordinary living entities because they are under its control. But Krishna, being the controller of the material world, has nothing to do with the impediments it offers. Therefore, in different parts of the Upanishads, the Vedas declare Brahman is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. But the one Supreme Personality of Godhead exists in the heart of every living entity. Because of his all-pervasiveness, he is able to enter not only into the hearts of all of the living entities, but even into the atoms also. As the Supersoul, he is the controller of all activities of the living entities. He lives within them, within all of them, and witnesses their actions, allowing them to act according to their desires and also giving them the results of their different activities. He is the living force of all things, but he is transcendental to the material qualities. He is omnipotent, and he is expert in manufacturing everything, and on account of his superior natural knowledge, he can bring everyone under control.
As such, he is everyone's master. He is sometimes manifest on the surface of the globe, but he is simultaneously within all matter, desiring to expand himself in multi-forms. He glanced over the material energy, and thus innumerable living entities became manifest. Everything is created by his superior energy, and everything in his creation appears to be perfectly done, without deficiency. Those who aspire for liberation from this material world must therefore worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate cause of all causes. He is just like the total mass of earth, from which varieties of earthly pots are manufactured. The pots are made of earthly clay. They rest on the earth, and after being destroyed, their elements ultimately merge back into earth. Although the Personality of Godhead is the original cause of all varieties of manifestations, the impersonalists especially stress the Vedic statement, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. The impersonalists do not take into account the varieties of manifestation emanating from the supreme cause of Brahman. They simply consider that everything emanates from Brahman and after destruction merges into Brahman, and that the intermediate stage of manifestation is also Brahman. But although the Mayavadis believe that prior to its manifestation the cosmos was in Brahman, after creation it remains in Brahman, and after destruction it merges into Brahman. They do not know what Brahman is. This fact is clearly described in the Brahma Samhita. The living entities, space, time, and the material elements like fire, earth, sky, water, and mind constitute the total cosmic manifestation known as Pu, Puva, Svaha, which is manifested by Govinda. It flourishes on the strength of Govinda, and after annihilation it enters into and is conserved in Govinda. Lord Brahma therefore says, I worship Lord Govinda, the original personality, the cause of all causes. The word Brahman indicates the greatest of all, the Brahman indicates the greatest of all and the maintainer of everything. The impersonalists are attracted by the greatness of the sky, but because of their poor fund of knowledge, they are not attracted by the greatness of Krishna. In our practical life, however, we are attracted by the greatness of a person, not by the greatness of a big mountain. Actually, the term Brahman can be applied to Krishna only. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna admitted that Lord Krishna is the Param Brahman, or the supreme resting place of everything.
Krishna is the Supreme Brahman because of his unlimited knowledge, unlimited potencies, unlimited strength, unlimited influence, unlimited beauty, and unlimited renunciation. And therefore, the word Brahman can be applied to Krishna only. Arjuna affirms that because the impersonal Brahman is the effulgence emanating as rays of Krishna's transcendental body, Krishna is Param Brahman. Everything rests on Brahman, but Brahman itself rests on Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the ultimate Brahman, or Para-Brahman. The material elements are accepted as inferior energies of Krishna, because by their interaction, the cosmic manifestation takes place, rests on Krishna, and after dissolution again enters into the body of Krishna as his subtle energy. Krishna is therefore the cause of both manifestation and dissolution. Sarvam Kevalam Nidam Brahma means that everything is Krishna. That is the vision of the Mahabhagavats. They see everything in relation to Krishna. The impersonalists argue that Krishna has transformed himself into many, and therefore everything is Krishna. And worship of everything is worship of him. This false argument is answered by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Although everything is a transformation of the energy of Krishna, he is not present everywhere. He is simultaneously present and not present. By his energy he is present everywhere, but as the energetic he is not present everywhere. This simultaneous presence and non-presence is inconceivable to our present senses. But a clear explanation is given in the beginning of the Ishopanishad, in which it is stated the Supreme Lord is so complete that although unlimited energies and transformations emanate. Emanate from Krishna, Krishna's personality is not in the least bit transformed. Therefore, since Krishna is the cause of all causes, intelligent persons should take shelter of his lotus feet. Krishna advises everyone just to surrender unto him alone, and that is the way of Vedic instruction. Since Krishna is the cause of all causes, he is worshipped by all kinds of sages and saints by observance of the regulative principles. When there is a necessity for meditation, great personalities meditate on the transcendental form of Krishna within the heart. In this way, the minds of great personalities are always engaged in Krishna. With minds engaged in Krishna, naturally the captivated devotees simply talk of Krishna. Talking of Krishna or singing of Krishna is called kirtan. Lord Chaitanya also recommends kirtanya sadahari, which means
always thinking and talking of Krishna and nothing else. That is called Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is so sublime that anyone who takes to this process is elevated to the highest perfection of life, far, far beyond the concept of liberation. In the Bhagavad Gita, therefore, Krishna advises everyone always to think of him, render devotional service to him, worship him, and offer obeisances to him. In this way, a devotee becomes fully Krishnaized, and being always situated in Krishna consciousness, ultimately goes back to Krishna. Although the Vedas have recommended worship of different demigods as different parts and parcels of Krishna, it is to be understood that such instructions are meant for less intelligent men who are still attracted by material sense enjoyment. But the person who actually wants perfect fulfillment of the mission of human life should simply worship Lord Krishna, and that will simplify the matter and completely guarantee the success of his human life. Although the sky, the water, and the land are all part of the material world, when one stands on the solid land, his position is more secure than when he stands in the sky or the water. An intelligent person, therefore, does not stand under the protection of different demigods, although they are part and parcel of Krishna. Rather, he stands on a solid ground of Krishna consciousness. That makes his position sound and secure. Impersonalists sometimes give the example that if one stands on a stone or a piece of wood, one certainly stands on the surface of the land, because the stone and wood both rest on the surface of the earth. But it may be replied that if one stands directly on the surface of the earth, he is more secure than on the wood or stone, which rest on the earth. In other words, taking shelter of Paramatma or taking shelter of impersonal Brahman is not as secure a course as taking direct shelter of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The position of the Jnanis and Yogis is therefore not as secure as the position of the devotees of Krishna. Lord Krishna has therefore advised in the Bhagavad Gita that only a person who has lost his senses takes to the worship of demigods. And regarding persons attached to the impersonal Brahman, the Srimad Bhagavatam says, "My dear Lord, those who think of themselves as liberated by mental speculation are not yet purified of the contamination of material nature because of their inability to find the shelter of your lotus feet. Although they rise to the transcendental situation of existence in impersonal Brahman, they certainly fall from that. They fall from that
exalted position, because they have neglected to desire your lotus feet. Lord Krishna therefore advises that the worshippers of the demigods are not very intelligent persons, because they derive only temporary exhaustible results. Their endeavours are those of less intelligent men. But the Lord assures that his devotees have no fear of falling. The personified Vedas continued, Dear Lord, considering all points of view, if one has to worship someone superior to him, then just out of good behaviour one should stick to the worship of your lotus feet, because you are the ultimate controller of creation, maintenance and dissolution. You are the controller of the three worlds, Bhurva and Swa. You are the controller of the 14 upper and lower worlds, and you are the controller of the three material qualities. Demigods and persons advanced in spiritual knowledge always hear and chant about your transcendental pastimes, because this has the specific potency to nullify the accumulated results of sinful life. Intelligent persons factually dip in the ocean of your nectarian activities and very patiently hear of them. Thus they immediately become free from the contamination of the material qualities. They do not have to undergo severe penances and austerities for advancement in spiritual life. This chanting and hearing of your transcendental pastimes is the easiest process for self-realization. Simply by submissive oral reception of the transcendental message, one's heart is cleansed of all dirty things. Thus Krishna consciousness becomes fixed in the heart of a devotee. The great authority Bhishmadev has also given the opinion that this process of chanting and hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all Vedic ritualistic performances. Dear Lord, the devotee who wants to elevate himself simply by this process of devotional activities, especially by hearing and chanting, very soon comes out of the clutches of the dualities of material existence. By this simple process of penance and austerity, the supersoul within the devotee's heart is very pleased and gives the devotee directions so that he may go back home, back to Godhead. It is stated that in the Bhagavad Gita that one who engages in all his activities and senses in the devotional service of the Lord becomes completely peaceful, because the super soul is satisfied with him. Thus the devotee becomes transcendental to all dualities such as heat and cold, honour and dishonour. Being freed from all dualities, he feels transcendental bliss, and he no longer suffers cares and anxieties due to material existence. Bhagavad Gita I'm reading your page.
I see you like to read very much. It's good that you like to read.
Very Krishna.
That's all right, Prabhupada said. A child or an animal is satisfied only by getting nice food. This stage of consciousness, in which the goal is to eat sumptuously, is called Annamaya. Anna means food. After this, one lives in the consciousness of being alive. If one can continue his life without being attacked or destroyed, one thinks himself happy. Today we are happy. In this stage is called Pranamaya, or consciousness of one's existence. After this stage, when one is situated on the mental platform, his consciousness is called Manomaya. Are you mental? Sometimes we're mental.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The materialistic civilization is primarily situated in these three stages: Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya. The first concern of civilized person is economic development, and next concern is defense against being annihilated, and the next consciousness is mental speculation, the philosophical approach to the values of life. If by evolutionary process of philosophical life one happens to reach the platform of intellectual life and understands that he is not this material body but a spiritual soul, then by evolution in spiritual life he comes to the understanding of the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Soul. When one develops his relationship with him and executes devotional service, that stage of life is called Krishna consciousness, the Anandamaya stage. Anandamaya is the blissful life of knowledge and eternity. It is said in the Vedanta Sutra, Anandamayopyasat, the Supreme Brahman and the subordinate Brahman, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities, are both joyous by nature. As long as the living entities are situated in the lower four stages of life, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, they are considered to be in the material condition of life. But as soon as one reaches the stage of Anandamaya, he is liberated soul. This Anandamaya stage is explained in the Bhagavad Gita as the Brahmabhuta stage. There it is said that in the Brahmabhuta stage of life there is no anxiety and no hankering. This stage begins when one is equally disposed toward all living entities, and it then expands to the stage of Krishna consciousness, in which one always hankers to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This hankering for advancement in devotional service is not the same as hankering for sense gratification in material existence. In other words, hankering remains in spiritual life, but it becomes purified. When our senses are purified, they are freed from all. How much time do we have?
A minute.
A minute, okay. A minute is too little. If you don't mind, we continue tomorrow. Okay.
Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ki.
Jai. Krishna. Nrsimha Bhagavatam ki Jai. Shri Panchatattva Darshan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki